J-Bone here, and it is time to recap and review the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix that has us all wondering a bunch of things like, is Carlos Sainz Ferrari's best driver? Is Daniel Ricciardo about to be out of Formula One? And is Yuki Tsunoda now Japan's prime minister? And guess what? We're going to discuss all those things and more right now. J-Bone! First and foremost, a humongous Formula One robbery just went down in Japan. Here's the story. Japanese VCARB F1 team driver Yuki Tsunoda just finished in the final points position at the Japanese Grand Prix by finishing the race in 10th place, thus becoming the first Japanese F1 driver to finish in the points at their home Grand Prix since Kamui Kobayashi finished on the Japanese Grand Prix podium in 2012. This is a very impressive result for Yuki, considering A, Yuki is not in one of the 10 fastest cars on the grid, and B, Yuki's race included him accomplishing 2 insane overtakes in the high-speed cornering S's section of the Suzuka circuit, which is a very difficult place to complete 1 overtake, let alone 2. And all that, folks, sets the stage for the gigantic robbery that just took place at the end of the Japanese Grand Prix. Driver of the Day is an award given out at the end of every single Formula One Grand Prix. Supposedly, the way Driver of the Day is decided is that fans watching the race in person or at home submit an online vote for the driver that impressed them the most, and then F1 tallies everything up and awards the driver with the most votes the title of Driver of the Day after they take the checkered flag. Now, I prefaced that with supposedly because, as we all know, F1 robbed ex-Williams racing driver Nicholas Latifi of Driver of the Day at the 2022 Canadian Grand Prix. Here's 2022 J-Bone to explain that whole situation to you. I demand that an impartial third party audit Formula One's Driver of the Day voting, because I find it impossible to believe that not only did Nicholas Latifi not win Driver of the Day in Canada, but that he didn't even finish in the top 5 of the official voting. Formula One claim that Leclerc received 21.6% of the vote, Hamilton 11.9%, Sainz 10.6%, Max 10.2%, and Alonso 6%, to which I respond that that is 100% BS. I have never seen as much excitement and buzz on social media surrounding Driver of the Day voting as I did this past weekend, and literally all of it was people saying how they voted for Nicholas Latifi. I'd believe Formula One if they said Latifi finished 2nd or 3rd, but I refuse to believe he did not receive at least 6.1% of the vote, okay? Internet gonna internet, so if you want to know who our Driver of the Day is, you need to accept it for better or for Gotifi. And folks, we now have yet another Driver of the Day robbery on our hands. Somehow, some way, Charles Leclerc and not Yuki Tsunoda was awarded Driver of the Day at the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix. Sure, it was kind of cool that Leclerc had great tire management and managed to execute a one-stop strategy to finish P4 from P8 on the starting grid, but was that cool enough for him to win Driver of the Day over Yuki? Nah. Leclerc qualified below where he should have, way below, and then managed to finish the race where he would have finished had he not had a bad qualifying. Now Yuki, on the other hand, qualified above where he should have, and then managed to maintain this outperforming position come the end of the race, all while on home soil with the pressure of his entire country on his shoulders. I'm not sure if the voters just got this one wrong, or if F1 once again stepped in and changed the results to suit their own narrative like they did with Gotifi, but either way, Yuki Tsunoda was robbed of Driver of the Day at the 2024 Japanese Grand Prix. On a related note, here's the latest update on how Daniel Ricciardo's F1 comeback is going after the Japanese Grand Prix. Not great. Not great. In Japan, Daniel was knocked out of qualifying by his teammate Yuki Tsunoda in Q2, and then he crashed out of the Japanese Grand Prix after just 3 turns by way of an incident with Alex Albon that, honestly, Daniel is lucky he did not get a penalty for causing, if you ask me, J-Bone. J-Bone! Now, Daniel was kind of set up for failure in Japan by his team, considering he only got 1 practice session due to Ayumu Iwasa driving his car in FP1 and then rain ruining FP2, but all that will not make Daniel feel any better about the position he's in right now. Drive to Survive star and fan favorite F1 driver Daniel Ricciardo re-entered Formula One full-time this season with hopes of wiping the floor with his VCARB F1 team teammate Yuki Tsunoda, and then parlaying that success into replacing Checo Perez at Red Bull Racing for next season, which would mark a return for Daniel to the team on which he won 7 Grand Prix between 2014 and 2018. However, the literal exact opposite of that is happening right now. We are 4 races into the F1 season, and Daniel Ricciardo is still yet to make a Q3 in qualifying and yet to outqualify his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, who himself has made the last 3 Q3s in a row. Not only that, but Daniel is yet to score a single championship point, whereas Yuki has scored 7. Daniel Ricciardo is not only at risk of losing out on getting Checo's Red Bull seat, which I personally think is already a foregone conclusion, but he's now at risk of losing his own V-Carb seat to promising Red Bull Junior driver Liam Lawson due to Daniel's poor performances. If Daniel can't close the gap to Yuki here soon, it's looking like we are witnessing the beginning of the end for Daniel Ricciardo's F1 career. Every time the F1 broadcast cuts to the paddock and I see all the snazzy dressers, it makes me realize that I want to be that well dressed at the next wedding I attend. And with a fully custom suit from my sponsor Indochino, anyone can walk into wedding season looking like $1 million, even though Indochino's suits start at just $4.99, which is an amazing deal for a fully customized suit. Here's how it works. First, you either go into an Indochino showroom and have one of their professionals get your measurements, which I did and highly recommend because it only took 20 minutes, or you simply follow Indochino's at-home measuring tutorial on their website. Then you place your order, which includes a ton of customization options and is also custom tailored using your measurements. Then you receive your order and are instantly the best dressed person in the room with custom garments that are so comfortable because they are designed to fit you perfectly. Indochino's suits are custom tailored yet affordable, and when you pair that with their quality, you just will not find a better suit anywhere. Look your best this wedding season at the table or on the dance floor when you wear Indochino. Go to Indochino.com today and use code FBONE to get 10% off any purchase of $399 or more. That's INDOCHINO.com, promo code FBONE. I'm wearing my Indochino pants right now. Check them out. They're great. Next up, here's how my 3 bona fide Japanese Grand Prix race predictions ended up. My first race prediction was that Ferrari would not be on the podium for the first time this season. And hand up, I, J-Bone, flat out got that one wrong because McLaren were way slower in Suzuka than anyone predicted, myself included. I'm not sure how you go from a 2-3 finish in Japan last season to a 5-8 finish there this season, but I'm also not sure how you go from winning 8 Constructors' Championships in a row to narrowly holding on to P4 in the Constructors' Championship by 1 point after 4 races 3 years later. So maybe I just don't know anything. My second race prediction was that Yuki Tsunoda would finish in the points at his home Grand Prix for the first time in his career, and ding ding, J-Bone got that one right. J-Bone! I knew it would happen, folks. Hashtag J-Bone knew. Yuki had a phenomenal home Grand Prix weekend and capped it all off with a points finish and another Daniel Ricciardo burial. And my third race prediction was that McLaren driver Oscar Piastri would finish on the Japanese Grand Prix podium. And again, hand up, I got this one wrong for the exact same reason that I got the first prediction wrong. Put too much faith into McLaren and not enough faith into Ferrari because apparently my brain is stuck in the second half of last season and cannot accept the fact that Ferrari maybe, possibly, might actually be competent now that Freddie Vasseur is at the helm. That puts me at 7 for 12 for the season thus far with my predictions, which is not ideal, but is still above 50%, so there's that. But guess what, folks? I'm going to follow up this poor showing by going 3 for 3 when I give you all my eagerly anticipated Chinese Grand Prix race predictions next week, so make sure you are subscribed to my channel so that you can see those predictions right when they drop next week in my Chinese Grand Prix preview video. Also, while you're at it, toss this video a like. Your boy's trying to get over 1,500 likes on this video so that my uncle thinks I'm cool. J-Bone. Now, let's get you caught up on everything else you need to know from the storyline-filled Japanese Grand Prix weekend. First, did Scuderia Ferrari make a mistake by deciding to keep Charles Leclerc instead of Carlos Sainz? In case you've been living underground with the Canadian Grand Prix groundhogs, Ferrari announced ahead of this F1 season that their driver lineup for next season would not be Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz like it has been since 2021. Instead, it will be Charles Leclerc and a GOAT candidate Lewis Hamilton, who will be moving to Ferrari after 12 seasons and 6 World Drivers' Championships with Mercedes. This means Ferrari picked Charles Leclerc over Carlos Sainz, and Carlos Sainz apparently took that personally because he is going ham this season and looking like a better driver than Leclerc. Here's Sainz's resume. He's the only race winner not named Max Verstappen in 2024, and also in the last 11 months, crazily enough. He has beaten Charles Leclerc in every race he started this season. He has only been outqualified by Leclerc once, and he is also the only driver to have been on the podium of every single race in which he's competed this season. Sainz is currently sitting just 4 points behind Leclerc in the World Drivers' Championship standings right now, despite the fact that he's competed in one fewer race, which is wild. And with Leclerc's current qualifying woes that are seeing his average qualifying position be worse than P6 through the last 2 races, while Sainz's is a solid P3, I would not be surprised if Sainz leaves the next race weekend in China ahead of Leclerc in the World Drivers' Championship. So what do you think? Did Ferrari make a mistake by deciding to keep Charles Leclerc instead of Carlos Sainz? Let me know in the comments. Go comment right now. Pause the video, go comment. Next, my Haas delusion syndrome just had a minor setback for a major comeback. Haas F1 team, better known as America's F1 team, at least until Andretti finally enters the picture, were on a run of impeccable form coming into this past weekend's Japanese Grand Prix. After all, they had their first points finish of the season in Saudi Arabia and followed that up with a miraculous double points finish in Australia, both of these events combining to make me once again suffer from Haas delusion syndrome, which, if you're not familiar, is a medical condition affecting millions, where sufferers believe Haas are incredible and deserve to be fighting for race wins despite minimal, if not zero, supporting evidence. Unfortunately, however, Haas did not make it 3 points finishes in a row this past weekend, as both of their cars failed to finish in the top 10 in Japan, though, I must say, P11 and P13 is a pretty decent result. I personally am shocked that Haas did not finish on the podium or even in the points at Suzuka, considering they're arguably the strongest all-around team in Formula One, depending on the metrics you're looking at. However, I've looked at all the telemetry from Japan, and after doing my own research, I personally believe that Haas were sandbagging in Japan so that nobody expects it when they have a 1-2 finish at the next race weekend in China. And guess what, folks? Guess what? You can't call me crazy because I already called myself crazy. That is the beauty of Haas delusion syndrome. Haas. Next up, you just cannot make up what is going on with the Williams Racing F1 team right now. At the third race of the season, the Australian Grand Prix, Alex Albon had a huge crash in free practice 1 that destroyed his car's chassis and rendered it unusable for the remainder of the race weekend. Normally, that is not a huge deal because teams bring a spare chassis to F1 race weekends, except it was a huge deal for Williams because they did not have a spare chassis as theirs was still under construction due to a lack of resources. This resulted in Williams unfairly taking their one functional car away from their other driver, Logan Sargent, and giving it to Alex Albon for the Australian Grand Prix, as Albon is seen as the better driver and Williams believed he had a higher chance of scoring points even though he just destroyed his own car. So Williams ran one car in the Australian Grand Prix, and guess what? Albon did not score points in Australia, so that decision accomplished nothing but making Logan Sargent very angry and sad. Fast forward to this past weekend's Japanese Grand Prix free practice 1, and Logan Sargent, driving Alex Albon's now repaired car, had his own crash that was so bad it meant he could not compete in free practice 2 as repairs were being completed. Now, fortunately for Logan and Williams, that chassis was not destroyed, so Logan's car was able to be fixed up and run in qualifying and the race. Fast forward again to the first lap of the Japanese Grand Prix, and Daniel Ricciardo squeezed Alex Albon, who was driving Logan Sargent's never-destroyed car, resulting in both of them crashing out and Alex Albon's chassis being so badly damaged that Williams have to send it back to their headquarters in England to be repaired before it can compete in next weekend's Chinese Grand Prix. Yes, this means both of Williams' car's chassis will have been massively damaged and repaired come the Chinese Grand Prix. Somebody's got to check the Carfax on those, okay? Because not looking great. Also, I can't even imagine how expensive shipping is going to be from Suzuka to Grove to Shanghai, assuming Amazon Prime doesn't offer free F1 car one-day shipping. This series of hilariously unfortunate events has certainly not been ideal for Williams, who, coming into this F1 season, were expected to improve on what was already an incredible 2023 season that saw them finish P7 in the World Constructors' Championship just 1 year after finishing dead last in P10. Williams' main goal this season was to beat Alpine, who finished right ahead of them last season. To be fair, they are currently beating Alpine. It's just that both teams are battling for P8 instead of P6, and also neither team has scored a single point yet in 2024, so Williams are only beating Alpine via a tiebreaker. Here's to hoping Williams get their act together ASAP, because F1 is more fun when James Vowles is happy and Alex Albon is in the points. In this day and age, anyone can sell products online, and if you're thinking about starting, you gotta be using my partner Shopify. Shopify is the best all-in-one commerce platform capable of handling your business's complexity no matter how big you grow. Step up to Shopify and harness the best converting checkout and the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands like Ruggable and Allbirds. Ever heard of them? Why would you spend time trying to build an online store with someone besides Shopify when Shopify stores convert the best? You shouldn't be. One thing that I love about Shopify is that it integrates with YouTube, which just goes to show you how forward-thinking they are when it comes to selling products in the modern age. What you need to do is stop leaving sales on the table, switch your business to Shopify, and discover why millions trust Shopify as their all-in-one commerce platform to build, grow, and run their business. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/fbone, all lowercase. That's 1 month for just $1 at shopify.com/fbone. Shopify.com/fbone. Last but not least, let's take a call from a member of the Formula Bone audience, just like you, who called into the Bone phone, the number for which is 833-200-0966. Feel free to leave an F1 themed voicemail there whenever you want, and I might play it here on the show. Here's the call.
J-Bone, this is Joe in Colorado, and I just have one thing to say today, and it is that the imprisonment and arrest of Max Verstappen is long overdue for his heinous crimes all over the world. And I just am waiting to see it happen, but it seems either F1 or Red Bull are intervening in the process of Max Verstappen seeing justice. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to open your eyes, because Max Verstappen is getting away with, I wouldn't say murder just yet, but it could be. It could be. But from what I've seen, he needs to be arrested post-haste. It is unbelievable that he hasn't already. So, thank you for your time.
Wow. What a call. What a call. I'm not sure I have any idea what this guy is referring to, but maybe you do. So, I'm going to open the floor up to all of you. Do you agree with this caller that Max Verstappen needs to be arrested for his quote-unquote heinous crimes? Let me know in the comments. Go comment right now. You can do it. Special shout out to my top YouTube channel members: Joe Max's #1 hitter Snow, who you just heard from, Brian Linton, Daddy Fed, Wolves Loves Racing, Waffleophagus, and David Hake. Mash that join button just below this video to get your name shouted out right here in future videos, as well as a bunch of other awesome perks for less than $5 a month. Till next time, folks, J-Bomb! J-Bomb!